Hey boys and girls, welcome to another episode of Addicted to Gear. I'm all smiles today. Why? Because we're getting closer to NAMM. We're less than a week away, guys. Aren't you excited? Don't you feel the buzz, the excitement, the electricity is in the air. I'm addicted to gear, and NAMM is like 100 times better than Christmas for anyone like me. And I'm sure if you're addicted to gear, you feel the same way. There's a lot of great stuff that's coming out this year, and NAMM is the place for people to announce this stuff. So if you're not already subscribed to this channel, subscribe right now, because we're going to be talking about a lot of that stuff right here. Now, about a week ago, I launched a video on YouTube where I was talking about a new lineup of guitars that was leaked ahead of the NAMM show, and it was supposed to be announced by Fender. Now, we don't know who leaked that information exactly. Fender. Sorry, I have a little bit of a scratchy throat coming on. In any case, the information was leaked, and it just so happens that, a lot of buzz around those new guitars was happening, and it really worked out well for Fender because people are very excited about this new lineup. Now, it happens to be a big coincidence that Fender announced, or actually the information was leaked at about the same time that Gibson announced that they were not going to be at NAMM this year. And so Fender used this to their advantage. Well, lo and behold, a couple of days later, there's another pre-NAMM leak. We don't know who leaked this information. Fender. Guys, can you give me some water? I'm really a little bit dry over here. We don't know who leaked this information, but we now have learned that Fender is going to be launching an updated version of their very, very well received Hot Rod series. I love the Hot Rod series. This thing, the Hot Rod series has been the bread and butter for Fender for at least 20 years. They're great all-around amplifiers. They're not boutique-style amplifiers, and they're not meant to be boutique-style amplifiers. Do they have shortcomings? Absolutely. Nothing's perfect. But you know what? They're in that G-spot. I call it the G-spot when you get good value for your money. And if you're a working musician and you can't afford, $3,000, $4,000 amplifiers, they're a great compromise. They get you a heck of a lot of value for the money that you're spending. So that's why I call them kind of G-spot amplifiers. And that's why they sell so well, and they've been selling well for years and years. Now, Fender doesn't want to mess that up. They know that they have the magic formula with these amplifiers. They're not going to change them to the point where they're going to be different amplifiers. They're going to make minor updates to them. They're going to tweak them to keep us interested in them. But it's not going to be like some crazy stuff that I've been reading on some forums where people are expecting to hear, like, the drive channel of an EVH guitar with maybe the cleans of a twin. They're not going to do that. I guarantee you they will not do that, especially not with this line. They may eventually come up with something new for us in a completely different line, but for the Hot Rod series, you can pretty much bet your bottom dollar that it's going to be pretty much status quo with a couple of tweaks here and there. So without further ado, let's look at exactly what they're changing on this lineup. Now, for those of you who don't know what exactly the Hot Rod series is, let me start off by saying the Hot Rod series are basically four main amplifiers. We have the Hot Rod DeVille, which is a 60-watt 212 combo. We have the Hot Rod Deluxe, which is a 112 40-watt combo. We have the Blues Junior, which is a 15-watt 12-inch combo. And we have the Pro Junior, which is a 10-inch 15-watt combo. Now, that's a lot to get straight there in one line, but that's basically what you're looking at in terms of the Hot Rod series. So you have something in there for everyone. Now, the Fender Hot Rod series is great because it does allow you to choose specifically what you want in terms of what you can afford, the loudness that you need, the volume, the wattage, and just the features, basically. So if you want something straightforward, nothing too crazy, you opt for the Pro Junior, which is a very manageable wattage. But if you're playing clubs, you definitely want to go with something a little bit more powerful. You have that in the Deluxe or the DeVille. So what has Fender updated on these amplifiers? Okay, number one, the Achilles heel of the Deluxe, Hot Rod Deluxe line has always been a pretty, let's just say, a pretty shabby overdrive channel. It's always been lackluster. It hasn't been fantastic by any means. They've tried to improve it over the years, but it's always fallen short. So they dedicated some time and energy to modify the preamp circuitry. So they're offering us what they claim to be better overdrive, more definition. Are these just marketing buzzwords? Probably, but I mean, the proof is going to be in the pudding when they finally do launch. The first thing that people are going to be looking at is that drive channel, I guarantee you. And I promise you this, if they hit the nail on the head with the drive channel, these amplifiers are going to sell like hotcakes, because really that's the main drawback to a lot of these amplifiers, is that they just didn't have what people were looking for. Now, that doesn't mean these amplifiers are going to be metal amplifiers by any means. Don't get me wrong, they're going to still be the same type of amplifiers. They're just hopefully going to have a better sounding overdrive channel. In the past, people have kind of lived with it, and they just bought a lot of these amplifiers, just threw a pedal in front of the clean channel and called it a day and lived with it as it was. But if you can get a better overdrive, it will definitely be a big plus in my book, and I would definitely be interested in checking them out and maybe buying another one. Now, to get a better sound, obviously you do have, you know, the circuitry, so they're improving that. They're also improving the speaker, and that's going to be a big one too. They're going with the Celestion A-type speaker, which is a killer speaker in my opinion. I have a Celestion V-type and an A-type that I've been playing with, and they both sound really good in the Fender circuitry. So in my opinion, I left the Celestion speaker in my amplifier because I just felt it sounded better. It had a better lower end. It retained the tightness in the lows. It had really nice highs, Fender highs, but it was never spiky, very well balanced, and it retained a lot of those characteristics even though you were in the overdrive channel, which is going to be killer in this amplifier. So a new circuit, a better speaker. Then there's the cabinet. These are the biggies, the big three. They're going with a pine cabinet now. So that means that the cabinet is going to be lighter, and it's going to be more resonant, and in my opinion, it's going to sound less boxy. I made that upgrade about 3.5–4 years ago on this Blues Junior behind me here, and I updated the cabinet to pine, and I never looked back. It just makes it sound a lot better. You can actually feel the entire cabinet vibrating with the speaker, and it just sounds bigger. So I think it's a great option on this upgrade, and I think people are going to really like the sound of the new amplifiers. There's a couple of less important updates. One of them is the reverb channel. And the reverb channel, I wouldn't necessarily have bothered changing it, but I understand why they did it. Now they're claiming that the reverb is going to be smoother sounding in this particular amp. And the reason why is because in the past, when you would go above 3 or 4 on the reverb, it would basically become unusable. It would kind of wash out everything, and you would want to stay below 4, let's say, okay? So I think what they're doing is they're adjusting the sweep on the knob so that it stays usable further up on the dial, which overall will be a good thing for a lot of users. It's not number 1 on my list. I wouldn't have, worried so much about the reverb, but I'm glad that they're paying attention to that as well. So now those are kind of the biggies. The rest of the modifications are kind of minor. They're kind of updates in terms of look, aesthetics. Now, one of the things that they were changing is the grill cloth, and the grill cloth was like a silvery grill cloth in the past. Now they're making it kind of yellowish, and they're kind of trying to emulate the look of a grill cloth that's been played in clubs for like 20 years and has been stained with nicotine, to give it kind of like that vintage look. Would I spend money on that? Would I bother changing that? No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't want to spend money on that, and if they're charging me more money for that, I'm not interested. If they did it, fine, but I mean, why change it? I don't know. It's kind of whatever. It's there, fine. The other thing they're changing is the handle on the amplifiers are now going to be steel reinforced handles. They're no longer going to be using the dog bone type handles, which became frail after a while and would break. They were more comfortable because they're entirely rubber, but they weren't very durable. The new metal reinforced ones are not as nice looking, but they will last longer. So they've kind of opted for durability over looks on that one. The knobs on the chassis are going to be ivory color, so they're going to be lighter, which in my opinion is a good thing because it's going to be easier to read the numbers on the chassis as well. Black on black is never a good thing. Black on chrome was even worse previously. So going with, you know, white knobs on a black control panel is a good thing in my opinion. And beyond that, they're not changing anything else in terms of, you know, the channels, the way they work. The DeVille will still have a normal drive, more drive channel. They're not modifying anything there. Now, the only one that's slightly different is the Pro Junior. The Pro Junior is not going to have a Celestion type speaker. The Pro Junior is going to have a 10-inch Jensen speaker, and it's going to be a P10R. It's not going to have the pine cabinet as well, and that's kind of a downer in my opinion. They decided to keep the MDF cabinet for that one. I don't know why, but they've decided to throw us a bone and give us a lacquered tweed and the vintage grill cloth, as well as a leather handle on that one. So I guess they're aiming more for the people that want kind of the vintage look and feel. And they probably figured the cabinet wouldn't make much of a difference on that one for whatever reason and decided to stay MDF. Is that going to be enough to keep people interested? We'll see. I mean, it's still a great sounding amplifier, you know. So overall, I'm pretty pleased to see that Fender has made these changes on their amplifiers, because a lot of the changes that they've introduced in this new lineup are the things that people would automatically mod anyways. I mean, for me, the speaker, reverb tank, knobs, handle, those are easy mods to do, right? So they've kind of already done them for us. I'm just glad that they went the right way and not the wrong way. So overall, I'm pretty pleased there. Is there a couple of things I would have modified or changed? Yes. Now, on the DeVille and the Deluxe, I would have liked to have seen a switch introduced for a switchable reverb, to switch the reverb on and off. They do that in the Supersonic. Why don't they do that in those amplifiers? They both have, you know, a drive channel and a clean channel and whatnot. What does it take to introduce a switchable reverb on the pedal? Would have been great. But unfortunately, we're not getting that. The other thing I would have liked to see is maybe, you know, if they would have experimented with some EL34 tubes, as opposed to just offering us the standard EL84 tubes that, you know, they always use. That would have been cool as well, but maybe it would have been a little bit too much of a stretch for them to offer that. The final thing that I would have liked to have seen, and I think a lot of people would have liked to have seen, would be some kind of power scaling, especially on the 60 watt and 40 watt versions. Why? Because they're damn loud. I mean, my 15 watt Blues Junior behind me is freaking loud. And to be able to get some nice drive naturally with the amplifier and have some kind of a power attenuation or power soak feature would have been great on the 40 watt and 60 watt version, you know, because they're just really loud. But again, they're not offering that right now, maybe on another version or a future update. Who knows? Keep your fingers crossed. But what I really want to know, guys, is what do you think? Is this enough to keep you interested in the line? Would you opt to wait and spend the extra cash and buy the new version, or would you just get a deal on the version 3 and be happy with that? Okay. Now the pricing on these amplifiers, as we know so far, is as follows. So the Fender DeVille is going to retail for $999 US. The Hot Rod Deluxe is going to be $799 US. The Fender Blues Junior is $599 US, and the Fender Pro Junior is going to be $499. Okay, so those are the prices, those are the updated prices as far as we know. Now the question is, do you wait and buy a new one, or do you grab an old one, now that maybe the prices are going to drop and you can get a better deal on the version 3. I guarantee you one thing, the version 3 behind me, the Blues Junior is killer. The mods that I made to it are fantastic and I'm really happy with it. You know, the new ones are going to have to be a lot better for me to have to spend more money on the Blues Junior, specifically since it doesn't really have like a, you know, I don't really use it for that much drive. I use a pedal in front of it right now. So is it worth swapping over? I don't know yet. Maybe the Hot Rod Deluxe might be interesting. The DeVille is usually killer. I played the DeVille a few times live with a band, the old version. Great sounding amplifier. It's big, yes, it's bulky, but it sounds good, man. You know, sounds good. So guys, give me your comments. Let me know what you think of all this. If you like the information that I presented here today and you find some value in it, please give me some thumbs up. I always appreciate the support. I'm glad to bring you the information as soon as I can. Check out the information for yourself if you want to have the, if you want to read all of the information. The information can be found on seattleguitarstore.com. They have listings of all the amplifiers. You can see a shot of the front of the amplifiers and you can see that they haven't really changed all that much. But you can go down the specifications for yourself and see all the details. And if I missed anything, you can find all the information there. I'll put the link down below in the description so you can click on it and find your way there. And just, you know, keep you busy till it actually comes out. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for tuning in. If you haven't already subscribed, don't forget to subscribe. And there's going to be more great stuff coming your way, especially around NAMM time. So stay tuned and keep rocking.